The next gentleman that's going to come up is a customer. His name's Amir. He's been with us across 3 different companies. Amir started his career at Google, and he's been a DMP customer at 3 companies. Why is this important? Because some of you make DMP wildly successful in your companies, and I applaud you. Some of you are sideways on DMP, meaning it's cool to have, we're glad we have it, it's okay, it's not a huge money maker, but we know to stay relevant in the industry, we need to have a DMP. That's the middle. And the ones on the bottom go, we have a DMP and we're not getting positive ROI from it. This next part is for the middle group, breaking even, and the folks that have not yet figured out how to do it. Amir runs programmatic and operations at Trinity Mirror, the largest newspaper company in the UK. This gentleman has figured out how to make DMP successful for his companies, and he's brought us all the way through. So without further ado, I want to introduce Amir and Malik of Trinity Mirror. And again, thank you everybody for coming.
First of all, I would like to say thank you, Andy, for introducing me and what I think was a great opening to this event. It would be hard to top, and I'm going to try. I kind of feel out of my depth now. It's a hard act to follow, really. But I guess I'll just kick it off and allude to one of the points that Andy made about Lotame being an independent DMP. And I just want to make a comment on that, that's a very important reason to work with Lotame, and in fact, most independent technologies in our current market dynamics. If you're a media owner, the dependency on ad revenues is obviously crucial to most of our businesses. But the growth of, or the duopoly of Google and Facebook over the last several years means that we need to innovate and create new methods of generating revenue and incentivizing investment. The reason that I use Lotame is not just because it's an independent platform, it's actually because I believe it is the best DMP in the market. And I can boil that down to almost to one clear and simple reason, that it affords you controls to create new ways of using data, to be imaginative and to be innovative with the assets that you're responsible for. Categorizing behaviors, I'm not sure if any of you have ever used the platform, is a window into that opportunity with the platform that's Lotame. And throughout this talk, I just want you to think about Henry Ford and his statement that if I would have asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. So when I say #horses, think about that and think about creating something special with your DMP. If any of you are existing customers, I hope you start as soon as tomorrow. So I work for Trinity Mirror, and we're one of the biggest publishers in the UK. We're not the only news publisher in the UK, and in our country, we essentially aggregate in a digital world and ecosystem the same audiences. So if you think that the biggest media owners are seeing the same users every day, and they're just reading different articles across different titles. For us, it was about differentiating our understanding of the user and even the people we see, which is probably a preferable word to user. So I guess just to bring it and explode the DMP up for you all, when you deploy your data management platform, you immediately begin to collect data points. And some of them are obvious, some of them are what you expect, and some of them are ones that you don't even think about. So for us, we essentially have 3 focuses. We think about our advertisers who buy from us and what inventory that we buy. We use a performance trading desk ourselves. We offer managed services to some of our customers who would like us to deliver KPIs for their campaigns. We also think about selling our media to customers and the brands that we work with. And on these 3 objectives, we are essentially scraping and gathering as much data as possible. And some of these data points that you'll see that are scrolling in front of you, for example, engagement, device type, off the cuff don't really have any determinable data point or interpretation that can give you a window into the user. But we at Serenity Mirror analyze things such as people that comment on articles, people that click on ads, people that dwell on certain parts of our page. And we've worked hard to fit these people into psychometric profiles. And we found that we can almost segment those users across these behavioral points to create good engagement and response for our advertisers. It's not the most obvious way of working with data. And we capture all, what articles are they reading? What celebrities are they interested in? What sports team do they support? That's the pretty obvious stuff. But what about where their mouse is on the page? What about what article do they tend to click on? Is it the second or the third every time they read the first article? These little points actually create a window into the person's behavior and personality. And I think with that data, you'll find that just like everybody in this room, for the majority of us, 80% of our bank statements will be the same. We go to Starbucks, we go to Walmart, we go to McDonald's, what I do. And to be honest with you, you'll find that if you can create a perception of the user that is accurate and based on empirical evidence, the second phase of what you're doing should be to think about how that user relates to a particular brand or a particular ad campaign that you're running. And in fact, #horses, you can create an opportunity out of nothing with data. One of those that we did ourselves was with Nestle. And this is a global kind of brand from the FMCG group. They create Kit Kat chocolate, cereal, dog food, cat food. And one of the issues that they had was they were finding that their media spend was not yielding the results that they'd like. They were spending millions and millions of dollars on creative and video ads, which essentially were being skipped or not viewed to the end. And that's a real problem for advertisers. So for one of their brands in particular, they wanted to target mums. And they came to us and said, look, you have good coverage of mothers in the UK. We said, yes. We have this problem. Is there anything you can do? So our team got together and essentially gathered all the mums, segmented them into one audience, and then pushed it through to their DSP, to Google DBM. And we figured that if the trading desk on behalf of Nestle is working on a frequency cap, and buying 2 impressions from Trinity Mirror, 2 impressions from the Daily Mail, 3 impressions from YouTube, the possibility is that one mum can see that ad up to 8 or 9 times a day. By the 4th or 5th time, she's going to want to skip it. But what about if we gave them a global frequency cap on the mums that we know, and we released the kind of controls or the pressure from them spending on our titles alone? We've essentially created a new revenue stream for the business, as that has grown almost 1,000%. Nestle were one of our biggest investors last year, and 50% of what they invested happened off our platform. It was utilized through our data. So you need to be a bit more creative, and if you want to really offer something, a solution, away from the world of Facebook, you need to actually be a bit more imaginative and a bit more open. In terms of data, and I've referenced Facebook a few times, I mean, I'm under the impression that people don't actually realize Facebook, in my opinion, provides really valuable data, demographic and age, but it actually doesn't really provide, for example, household income. It doesn't provide what LinkedIn provides, which is where you currently work. It doesn't tell you what the user's thinking about right now. It tells you what a person wants you to know. There's a superficial element to that. What we input on Facebook and Instagram is what we want to show others. But what I'm reading on a website and where I'm clicking and going through, I'm in my own domain. That's not really a place where I openly share that information. And in my opinion, I think there's real value in that data. When Andy had the slide up with all the logos of the customers here, I mean, we are under pressure, especially as a news publisher. And when I was looking at that slide, I just thought, imagine, when you're in trouble and you're fighting someone that's a bit stronger than you need to forge alliances. Imagine what would happen if we used one of Lotame's products, I think it's Syndicate, to synchronize our data and see what do we know about this user. If you think of Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, Facebook really know the gut, they know the age, and then they know the gender. But we know what's going on inside their head. We know what brings them to their device. It's to read about this information. We know what they're thinking about in that moment. And I mean, I think that data is powerful. We're working really closely with the Weather Channel at Trinity Mirror. And they have information which suggests that when certain speeds of wind are happening, sales in beer or coffee are going up and going down. That's really valuable data, which I'm sure brands would want to know. Imagine when you marry that, the weather data to the interest data, to what they're reading, to what they're commenting on, to what phone they want to buy through our quizzes. We run polls and quizzes on our website. We're getting real deterministic data from them. And together, I think we're a much stronger force. So some of the innovations that we worked on at Trinity Mirror, and granted, there may be companies that stand alone that do this, but I think for us, we personally went out of our way to ensure that we could create this platform. For example, we used Beamray, which is a location-based technology. I might be wrong, but I think we're the first people in the world to actually migrate location-based data from telco towers and Wi-Fi into a DMP off mobile web. I mean, if you think about that, we are creating location-based behavior. People that go to this restaurant or to this shop or pass by a Starbucks or every day and take this route to work. What does that tell us about them? Work in this area and live in this area through dwell times. Between 8 p.m. to 7 a.m., we're tracking where they are. From 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., we know where they work, or at least what area they're in. What happens when we marry that to what articles they're reading? They're reading articles about Brexit. They're reading articles about Donald Trump. They're reading articles about investment. What does that tell us about the user? There's a massive opportunity, I think, with location data. We also work with Crowdy News, which is the C. They're here today as well. They are actually using 9 of the distribution platforms, the social platforms, to bring in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, to match real-time social feeds to our articles. We're actually taking data back from the social platforms by working with Crowdy News and seeing what people are trending on social media, on our pages, and then taking that data. We've even built 100% viewable ads side by side with that, which is adding value to our private marketplace deals. And in our ad tech kind of architecture, I think we've created a really strong reputation from being a bit more imaginative. None of these things existed. None of them were inside Lotame to begin with. We use Lotame as our hub, our base, to innovate new creative digital products. One of the other things that we did, which I'm going to kind of end on, is we worked with our customers to build trust and share with them our Lotame tag, our actual DMP. And some of our customers were willing to deploy our DMP on their site, of course, with privacy contracts in place, etc. And we were able to see what products people are looking at on their site. I mean, this is a whole new value that we add, a commerce value. Using that data, we generate with a company called Cablato creatives based on what products the user is looking at on the website. For one of our campaigns, we were averaging about 600 conversions a day. People buying art. This is a real customer of ours. People buying art from his website. 400 were due to dynamic creative, being retargeted with the actual product you were looking at on the website, activated through Cablato, a creative agency, and Lotame, our DMP. Hashtag horses, right? They didn't know, the client had no idea, he just wanted more people to buy products from his website. We got together and brainstormed to do this, utilizing our DMP. So for all of you out there, some of the logos I saw in incredible companies, you're sitting on this wealth of data. Tomorrow you should be imaginative. Tomorrow you should think about, can I capture this information? What can I do with it? Who'd be interested in it? And I guess I'd like to end there. Thank you.